A death sentence marking the culmination of the country's most watched murder trial to date. Joseph Irungu's sentence drudged up the debate of the place of the death penalty in Kenya. This, especially after the Supreme Court declared the mandatory death sentence for murder unconstitutional back in 2017. Our very own Victoria Rubadiri with more on the death sentence puzzle.
Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey. Shall suffer death as provided for the offense of murder.
This was the moment Kenyans were reacquainted with the very heavy penalty of a death sentence rendered on live television. Joseph Irungu became the latest recipient of the controversial punishment that, until 2017, was a mandatory penalty for murder by law.
Yes, Counsel.
In the case of Francis Karioko Muruatetu and another versus the Republic, petition number 15 and 16 of 2015, the Supreme Court declared the mandatory nature of the death sentence for murder was unconstitutional. What this meant was, after 2017, the death penalty could still be rendered for murder, but at the discretion of a judge. Execution was still set as the maximum penalty, but was not to be the only penalty for murder. Justice Grace Nzioka today decided to hand Irungu the death penalty, considering the gravity of the crime and what she described as the far-reaching consequence of the offense.
We have had the benefit of looking at the photographs showing the body of the deceased and the injuries. I would certainly not display them there. Certainly not. At least for the benefit of the family. It is a tragic, Kenya's loss of life on extreme circumstances, bordering on an act of absolute madness that is beyond understanding. So even the defense joins the victim's family and the prosecution and the court in arriving at the conclusion it was a gruesome murder. Horrific, frightening.
Since 2017, the courts have been rendering death sentences. In fact, by the end of 2022, there were 656 people recorded on death row in Kenya. A total of 79 death sentences were handed down that year alone, according to an Amnesty International report. Currently, people convicted of murder, robbery with violence, attempted robbery with violence, or treason can be sentenced to death. Since independence, some 280 convicts who were sentenced to death were executed in Kenya. The last person to face the hangman's noose was Hezekiah Ochuka, who was found guilty of treason for the 1982 attempted coup. He was hanged at the Committee Maximum Prison in July of 1987. The senior private in the Kenya Air Force was exactly 2 weeks shy of his 34th birthday by the time he met his demise.